If you are tired of listening to the advice of living in the end or faking it till you make it, you've come to the right place because I myself was so frustrated back in the day when all I would hear on YouTube is to fake it till you make it, to live in the end, to be in that end state. And I understood that theoretically, but for me to embody that was just impossible because I had so many limitations in my brain which I had not confronted. But the moment I confronted them and had a clear vision for the way I want my life to play out, that is exactly when the universe started working for me and not against me. Now, the truth is, the universe is always working for us, but we create a perception in our head that why is life so difficult? Why do these negative things only happen to me? Because it makes us feel like the victim. And when we are the victim, it feels like it's okay to not take any action. And that is exactly what your brain wants. Why? Not because your brain does not want you to be happy, but because your brain wants you to be safe more than it wants you to be happy. So if you currently have a manifestation goal, okay, let's say you want to become a professional actor and you want to act in Bollywood movies, and currently you're not acting in movies, but on evenings you feel rather relaxed. Now, the reason why on a random evening you will not want to take action to actually become an actor by going for an audition or by joining acting classes is because your nervous system and your body does not trust that you will have the same level of peace or a higher level of peace by indulging in that specific task, which in this situation is acting. And to protect you from experiencing that uncertainty of how can we feel peace in our body even while acting, to stop you from experiencing that uncertainty, that is the reason why we procrastinate. That is the reason why we don't show up for these things. But when you can recognize that manifestation can also happen just by your thoughts. Why? Not because you are the thinker of your thoughts, but because you are the receiver of your thoughts. What does that mean? So if I ask you to think of a city, the first city that comes to your mind, it's not something that you consciously thought of. That city came to your mind for one and only reason. Because you either live in that city, because you either recently spoke about that city, you were watching a movie and you heard about that city, but because it was dominant in your conscious and your subconscious mind, that's why you splurred it out. And that's the first thing that your brain received as a thought and you said it. You did not think of it. Now, a lot of people tend to get into this negative spiral that, you know what, I just get so negative, I don't know what to do with my life. The reason why you're getting negative is because you're not taking enough action to put yourself in a vibrational situation where the kind of thoughts that your brain can receive are positive. What does that mean? If you simply want to be a person who is more knowledgeable on, let's say, the sport cricket, now for you to gain more knowledge, don't you feel like for you to go on a cricket ground, for you to speak to cricketers, for you to watch a movie on cricket, it's going to allow you to naturally have more confidence the next time somebody talks about cricket, because now you have some kind of information because you've put yourself in the vibrational situation. But the reason why your body will resist putting yourself in that vibrational situation is because you are going to feel stupid at first. But feeling stupid is a very, very small price to pay for you to feel energetically aligned with what you actually want with your life. And people have thought of manifestation as just thinking, and while you can do it that way, but eventually after a certain period of time, as you're thinking about your desires and getting into that vibrational state, not thinking in terms of lack, thinking abundantly, that's very well. But when you get into that vibration state by thinking abundantly, the universe is going to present an opportunity in your life in some way or the other in the least expected way. So don't try to predict as to how this is going to happen, because it is going to happen in a way that you cannot predict it. And every time you're predicting it, that is basically adding more and more delay for that thing coming into your life and for you to handle that well, to actually shape your identity in a way that the reality that you want can find you in the present moment. Okay. So if you are thinking and you're feeling abundant and you're in the correct vibrational state to receive an opportunity for you to capitalize on that and make it a part of your life, let's say the opportunity presents. You've only thought about it. You don't know actually what to do with that situation. Let's say you want to become a professional actor and you get a very big audition for a very big Bollywood movie, and so far all you've done is watch Bollywood movies, look at Bollywood interviews, understood what the industry is like, and then you went for the audition. But when you went for that audition, you don't know how to act. You don't know how to cry on command, you don't know how to laugh on command, you don't know how to treat the people in the audition room, you don't know any of that. So because you don't know any of that, and even after you got the opportunity, you've completely fumbled it. Now, after you come back home, after that, horrible day, how are you going to feel about pursuing acting? Not that good. you're going to feel negative. You're going to feel like, oh, this is not my cup of tea. When in reality, it is your cup of tea. But you did not want to put in any physical work to build that identity for yourself because you were afraid of uncertainty. Now, why is uncertainty so important? Because understand the definition of a miracle. If you want something new to happen in your life, which has never happened before, how can you still be in the vibrational state of your past if you want a new future to come in? For example, if you want that one annoying relative in your family to treat you differently, you cannot approach in the same way and expect them to respond differently. Only when you approach them differently will they be able to respond to you differently. If not the first time, if not the second time, the third time, they will respond differently, and the universe works in the exact same way. And uncertainty is the most important part, not just of your manifestation journey for one goal, but for every little goal that you have in your life. If you want a car that you've never driven before, if you want a house where you've never lived in before, do you feel like you can attract that by being in a vibrational state that you've already been in? Definitely not. Because if you would have been in that vibrational state where you can attract that car, then you would have attracted that car. But because you've never been in that vibrational state, you have to realize that uncertainty is your number one opportunity to put yourself in a situation in any way that you can to actually embody that version of yourself. But people are afraid of failure. They feel like, oh my God, if I step into that identity and something negative happens and I don't know what to do with it, then I'm going to feel really bad. But you're going to feel much more bad if you go for an opportunity, if you go for the audition where you had the opportunity to change your entire life, but you didn't know what to do. So don't you feel like putting your effort, putting your attention on the identity work is going to give you more and more confidence that you are capable of attracting that opportunity, capable of attracting that role in that movie? And this isn't about the role. This is also going to apply for your car. Let's say, for example, if you want to manifest a Mercedes, don't you feel like the amount of confidence that you're going to have within yourself, let's say while negotiating your car deal with the Mercedes salesman, is going to be more when you're somebody who has more information on sales, when you're somebody who works 8 hours a day on something that you love to do, having the confidence that you do have the money to buy this car? Don't you feel like you're going to get a better deal and a better life anyways if you're always putting in the identity work? But the reason why you're not putting in the identity work is because you're afraid of failing. But why are you afraid of failing? You have to ask that to yourself. You have been a certain version of yourself for so long that the moment you shift, you want to be a master at that, because I understand you want to manifest your desires as soon as possible. So you listen to the advice of living in the end and you tried that. But did that work out for you? No, it didn't. Because when you're living in the end, yes, you might be in the correct vibrational state. But when the opportunity comes, you are not going to act in accordance with that identity in its truest form, because that's not who you are. That's who you are pretending to be. So how do you become that? You become that by realizing that you don't get any less of that by failing. In fact, you become more of that. If there is somebody who wants to become a content creator and they post their first piece of content on social media and it flops, don't you feel like that flop is going to give them the kind of confidence that I posted, I flopped, and the next day when they show up again, it actually overrides a negative situation and they're less and less afraid of failure, making them a better content creator. And the same thing is going to apply for your life in any way. So thinking thoughts is amazing, but when you put your attention on the identity work, the natural thought that your brain is going to receive on a day-to-day basis is going to be in relation with that. So one random afternoon, after you've come back from your acting classes and you're just sitting, you might be watching a movie and all of a sudden an idea might come to your brain that, okay, this is a very interesting movie. I like the role of this actor, so why not do a monologue this evening and record myself? Now, this may not be something which directly helps you manifest your desires, but this is going to put you in a vibrational state where the amount of confidence that you have to attract a role, not just that role, a role, is going to be much more, right? This is exactly what you have to think of. Now, I want to give you a very simple example, and this is something that probably a lot of you have experienced, maybe you haven't, but in some way, I am sure that you have. Let's say you want a promotion in your workspace, okay? And there is a networking party happening where companies from all over your country are meeting in one specific venue. Now, nobody from your office, especially your friends, are available other than two people. Let's call them A, who is your very good friend, and B, who is not really your friend. I mean, they're just okay. They're kind of boring, honestly. They're not bad, but they're just boring. Now, you three are planning on going for this party. However, 8 hours before the party, A says, hey, you know what, I don't think so I can come, I'm very, very unwell. Now, from that moment, do you feel like you would rather go to this party by yourself, or do you feel like you would be happy about the fact that B is coming? You would be happy about the fact that at least B is coming, when in reality, before this, you would much rather have it just you and A. But now, why do you want B? Because you're about to put yourself in a situation, in an environment where your life can completely change. And that situation is nothing other than uncertainty at the highest level. And for you to have conscious awareness about the fact that I am supposed to project a version of myself in this situation so that I can actually network and get a better and higher paying job. But why do you want B? You know for a fact, logically and analytically, that B is not going to improve your chances of attracting a networking role. It's not going to improve your chances of attracting a better job. Then why do you want B? You want B because at least some part of you, of your past, is coming in this new journey with you. So that when you're at the party and everybody's having drinks, you're not standing there by yourself. But only when you actually put yourself in a situation in reality where you are standing by yourself will you realize that no, I have no option. I need to go and talk to some people because I am at a networking party. However, this intuition, it cannot come to you. And even if it comes to you, when you are with B, you will override the intuition because you are like, I don't want to look like a weirdo who's going and approaching random people. But that is the point of networking. Now, this is just one very simple example. But if you can realize that if you want to create a brand new identity for yourself, there will always be a part of your old self that you want to bring along with you. And for as long as you try to bring that old part of you in your new life, for that long you will take to manifest the reality that you truly want. That's why the universe keeps on testing its best soldiers, as we say. Why? Because if you're trying to bring about your old reality in your new reality requires a certain kind of vibration that you're supposed to sustain, and the old reality being a part of it is going to make it difficult for you to sustain. So it's not like this is bad and this is good. It's that if you want this, you cannot have a part of this entering your life, right? So I have a best friend who's a professional swimmer. He cannot smoke come what may. If he starts smoking, he is going to be behind. He's going to basically, like I fumbled. If he starts smoking, even like one cigarette a month, okay, there are other swimmers who are probably slightly better than him, slightly worse than him. They are not smoking at all. And this is high level dedicated swimmers, which means he goes so much far behind just because he's brought this one small part of him which does not align with his goal of becoming a professional swimmer. So don't you realize that if the more and more you try to bring about your old reality into your new reality, the more and more you're going to struggle. And the universe is going to put you in such a situation where you get so frustrated that you actually don't want to bring about this old reality in your life. In your new life. So when I was talking about manifesting the easy way and manifesting the difficult way, what was I actually talking about? I was talking about the fact that you can directly put your attention on the kind of identity that you want to create yourself, so you can be in a vibrational situation where opportunities can find you, not the other way around. Or you can think your way into it, and as you're thinking your way into it, you are doing all of the things that the old you used to do, but you're thinking positively. That manifestation can still happen. I'm not saying it can't, but it is going to take you significantly longer. And when the opportunity arises, you will realize that you don't have the identity, you will fumble, and you will go back to day one. Now be honest with yourself. Do you want that for yourself or not? Because the universe is going to trouble you, because it is ever abundant. So every trouble, every problem, every obstacle that it is putting in your life, it's not because it is something that it is doing to punish you. It is punishing you because you've asked for something. Right? If you want to go from 70 kgs to 60 kgs, you are going to feel depressed the morning where you skip your workout, not because you are a depressed person, because you are not keeping up with the promises that you have made to yourself. And when you keep up with the promises that you have made to yourself, that is exactly when you are creating new neural connections in your brain. What are neural connections? So every single time you have a thought, and you acted in accordance with that thought, and then that resulted in a certain experience, and that experience resulted in a few emotions that you felt in your body, and because these emotions felt so real, you started to form a belief around that experience. For example, you had a thought that let me pet that stray dog. You pet that stray dog, the stray dog barked at you, you felt scared, and now you have a belief that stray dogs are horrible, right? So now for you to override that belief and create a new set of neural networks, you have to put yourself in a situation where you can once again do every single thing in your power to be friendly with a stray dog. And it will bark at you once again, not because there's no point of putting in work, but because after it barks at you and you don't respond to it like the old you would have responded to it, that is precisely when your life can change. That is precisely when your belief regarding that specific thing can change, because one or two times the universe wants to test you to make sure that the identity that you are holding in that present moment is something that you can sustain even for more difficult times, even for more difficult days. And that's why people feel like, why are things falling apart right before my manifestation breakthrough, in my manifestation journey? The truth is, if you want your new life to build, your old life has to collapse. And if you're bringing even some part of it into your new life, I am telling you, it is going to be chaos until you recognize that I no longer want any part of my old life with me in this journey with me. So, in simple words, the goal through identity work is for you to create more and more experiences in your current three-dimensional reality, for you to experience emotions which will then allow you to have beliefs that the thing that you want in your life is possible. Now, when people talk about overnight manifestation, I am telling you it is possible overnight as well. But for you to have a strong belief about the fact that it is actually possible is going to be much better and much stronger if you allow yourself to have those experiences. So I want you to look at your life right now, and I want you to ask yourself, what is your biggest manifestation goal? Let's say that goal is for you to get into a relationship. However, let's say you've been single for the past 3 years. For you to manifest a healthy relationship right now, you have a lot of forms of resistance in your mind. Now, your job is to not fight all of these forms of resistance. Your job is to recognize as to why are you resistant towards it. Well, why do I feel scared to approach that guy or approach that girl? Because I am attracted to them. Well, I'm scared because I've gotten rejected in the past. Okay, so if you have a limiting belief because you've gotten rejected in the past, do you want that limiting belief to hold you down, to hold you back for the rest of your life? Absolutely not. At some point, you are going to take action despite having that belief. So why would you wait when you know either way at some point you're going to take that action? But when you take the action now, something very interesting happens in your body. Your brain starts creating a new set of neural networks which allow you to form a new belief by allowing yourself to have a new experience and experience new emotions in your body. When you experience these new emotions in your body, you have a cocktail of chemicals that surge in your body which secrete endorphins, because you are acting in accordance with something what you want your life to look like. And no matter what you hear on the other end, if you still respond to it in the way that your highest self would, that is exactly when you know you've created an identity. That is exactly when you know that this experience has given you nothing but confidence. And from that confidence, when you approach the next person and the next person, don't you feel like overall within just 24 hours you can actually shift your entire identity? But the reason you're not doing that is because you've never done anything like this in the past before. But if you want to manifest something in the future that you've never had, you have to do something in the present that you've never done in your past. Because a lot of people try to visualize the future, they try to hold on to it, but the more you hold on to a future in the present moment, the more dissatisfied you are with the present moment, the more you are hoping that the present moment would be something different. But when you're operating from that kind of a vibration, guess what the universe feels? You are ungrateful. And when you're not grateful, you are not in the vibration frequency of receiving. Because gratitude, in simple words, is thank you. Thank you that something amazing has come into my life. And in this moment, if you are consistently visualizing something else, if you're consistently hoping it would be something else, even if it's making you happy for a moment, realize that the moment right now is the only moment that exists. And if you can master the vibrational state that you want to be in at this moment, that is exactly when the reality will find you, because the universe has corporate components. Behind the scenes, things are always happening to work out for you. Because you are never going to regret something that you did do. Very, very rarely you will regret something that you did do. However, when you don't do something, when you knew the time could have been right, you don't know it was right, but it could have been right, and you didn't do something, that is exactly what you're going to be thinking of, and that is exactly what we call wasted potential. And when will you not waste potential? When you are completely aware that I have done things in my day-to-day life to build an identity, so that in this moment I can actually capitalize on it. But if all you've done is think thoughts and visualize, the identity work is not going to be there, and the confidence is not going to be there. And it is the confidence which allows you to have the certainty that yes, this belongs to me. Think about a girl, and there are two suitors for this girl. One guy has no money, no physique, just probably a nice family. Whereas the other guy has an amazing family, he has an amazing physique, he has all the money in the world. So it's not actually the money and the physique that allows this guy to have the confidence, right? Sorry, it's not just this money and the physique that makes the girl feel attracted to this guy. This guy could even look better. But this man has so much confidence in what he feels like should belong in his life, that he is going to show up in a way when he's trying to impress this girl, that she is going to get impressed with him. That's a very, very simple example, but that is actually how simple manifestation is. If you're trying to manifest a relationship with a specific person, or if you're trying to manifest a job that you've never had before, recognize that you cannot operate from the version of lack. You cannot operate from a state of mind that what do I have to do to get with this person? What do I have to do to get that job? Because that is not the vibrational frequency of somebody who has it. So you have to ask yourself, well, why do I want this? Now, why is the question, why do I want this, so important? Because this is a question that somebody who has that thing would also be asking themselves. So if there's somebody who is working out every single day, and because of that he's completely cut off his social life, but he has the best body in the world, he's very likely to ask himself, well, why am I even doing this? And that is the same vibrational state of having it. So if you start to change the way you ask yourself questions and say, well, why do I want this job? Well, I want this job because it's going to make me a lot of money. Well, why do I want money? Well, I want money because I want to take care of my family, or I want to take care of my future wife or my future husband, whatever it is. So when you get to the bottom of it, that is exactly when you're going to have a very clear justification of why you're doing. And when you have a clear justification for that, you are no longer going to rely on motivation. You are no longer going to rely on external circumstances, and you are not going to stop when something goes wrong, because you know that there is nothing like going wrong. It is the way you perceive the situation. So the fear that you have in your manifestation journey that something is going to go wrong is not real. What I'm trying to say is that if you've had a negative experience with job interviews, okay, so the next time you go into a job interview, that energy that you feel in your body, you will say, I'm feeling really scared. Well, the fear is nothing but negativity that you are connoting to that extra energy that you're feeling in your body. So you're feeling something, and you felt the same thing when you had a horrible job interview the last time, so you're calling it fear. But if you view this fear as nothing but excess energy in your body, and you change the way you perceive this excess energy in your body, it's not fear then, it's excitement. There is a very, very thin line of difference between fear and excitement. If you currently don't have the bank balance that you want, and you feel like you're living paycheck to paycheck, you can either call it fear, or you can call it excitement for a new life coming in. Whatever you give your dominant attention to, your brain is going to create neural pathways. Think of it as a roller coaster, okay? Think of it as a water pipe. Whatever you give more and more attention to, that neural network is going to get thicker and thicker and thicker. And when it gets thicker, it's very easy for your thoughts to flow down that pipe. But if it's small, and if you've not given your attention to that, it's going to require for you to have a lot of focus to think positively. So when you can make the conscious effort in the beginning itself, that I'm going to feel an excess amount of emotions in my body when I'm putting myself in this situation, and I know I would call it fear because I've had a negative instance with this kind of a situation. But what if I call it excitement? This is a question that the old you would not have ever asked yourself. What if I call this excitement. How do you feel like you will respond differently? You don't have to know. But don't you feel like that there is a guarantee that you at least will respond differently? You will do something that you've not done in the past before, and you just doing that is enough. You don't have to ace that job interview, but if you show up as that version of yourself for that job interview, and even if after the interview the person said you were horrible, I hated it, but the way you respond to what they say is exactly the timeline that you will be in. If you say, you know what, I knew I was horrible, I'm sorry, you don't have to give me this job. Or if you say, you know what, I respect your decision, and you just walk away, don't you feel like that is the timeline of somebody who is confident that they are going to receive a job? So all these fancy words like timeline and quantum jumping is basically recognizing what the universe, what the three-dimensional reality is currently offering to you. And if it's something that I like, then I will indulge in that. Why will I indulge in that? So my brain can create a new set of neural networks and a wider water pipe, a wider neural network. So those kind of thoughts can flow easily to me so that I don't have to make manifestation difficult. It can just be a way of life. And whenever something bad happens, I know that I am going to look at the positive of it. Now, this is not just look at the silver lining. This is like viewing every negative or positive situation as something which is allowing you to be more of who you want to be. What do I mean by that? If you want to get into a healthy relationship, it's not just because you want to hug somebody at night. It's because eventually you want to become a father, you want to become a mother. Eventually you want to have that kind of responsibility. So you're getting to be more of who you want to be in this limited time that you have on earth. So let's say you want to get into a relationship right now, and one of your annoying relatives says that, when are you getting married, but you have no prospects right now, and that triggers you. That trigger is your best friend, because that kind of a situation is going to manifest in your life again and again and again and again, until you realize that this thing that is triggering me is exactly my limiting belief, is exactly what I need to work on. So when you can give this auntie a response with nothing but love, that is when you are in a timeline where love can find you. You don't have to lie to her and say, oh, I have a lot of people, who want to get married to me right now. You don't have to be arrogant about it, because being arrogant about it is also you trying to protect your ego. But when you can realize that this is happening, not because the auntie is an irritating person, I mean, she might be, but because the universe wants the best for you, and it's going to put out all of its corporate components to trouble you to the point where you are so certain in who you are that your identity cannot shift, so the reality that you want can find you, because momentum is every single thing. So why do we say things get difficult before your manifestation breakthrough? And it gets most difficult then because the momentum that you require to stay strong in your identity when things are not working out in the way you want them to work out is what will determine your faith. Keep this in mind, and I'm telling you, manifesting anything is going to be easy as long as you want it, because there is no difference in wanting it and having it. If you are currently 60 kgs, you are 60 kgs because you do things in a day which allow you to maintain that weight of 60 kgs. Now let's say if you were 70 kgs and you want to go down to 60 kgs, it does not mean that you have to just work out for 2 months with complete intensity, go to 60 kgs and you can stop. Because if you stop, you're going to go back to 70 kgs and then 80 kgs. But when you're at 60 kgs, you will realize what your true potential is, and you will want to do more. You will want to do more work, which means you will then want to be 55 kgs. And with 55 kgs, you'll be like, damn, I can do anything. Now I want abs. So you will work for abs. So when you realize that the journey is the destination, and when you can reprogram your brain to fall in love with the process of who you are becoming, because becoming is a never-ending process, and we are not greedy. We just want to have more experiences. We want to be more of who we can be. And when we do that, that is precisely when you will never wait for your manifestation goal, because you are the manifestation. Who you decide to be in this exact moment is your manifestation goal, and the universe and the three-dimensional reality is consistently showing you. It's a reflection of your internal state of what you need to work on and what has already worked. Keep this in mind and realize that the universe is always trying to help you. And if you want to personally work with me, then the link is in the description. That's it for this video, guys.